Algebra 1. So today we are going to be in your homework packet. We are going to do worksheet 6 together. I'm going to have a handful of problems that I want you to try yourself and then check your answers on your homework answer key. I'm going to tell you what those numbers are now. Okay, but everything else on here we'll either cross off or we'll do together. Okay, and then you'll submit that tonight for me or today. So the ones you're going to do are 7 through 12. Okay, and we'll do 1 through 6 together to make sure you know what you're doing. We're getting rid of 17 through 19. And then you're also going to do 25 and 28 yourself. And then make sure when you submit your worksheet that I'm able to see those problems. Okay, so I can give you some feedback on if you did them correctly or not. Okay, all right, and then the rest of these we're going to do together right now. So first we are factoring. Factoring is just your box problem. So we'll go ahead, we'll set up our parentheses. I'm going to put my X's. Okay, and notice none of these have equal zeros, so I'm not actually solving these, all right? I'm just finding my two numbers and then that's it, as long as I have this correct notation here. So I'm just setting all of these up for myself right now. And I'm checking they are all X's, so I'm using X's here. Okay, and then let's give this a shot. Multiplying to 2, adding to 3. Well, the only numbers that multiply to 2 are 2 and 1, and they should both be positives. And that's it. And again, you could have 1 and then 2. The order does not matter. Number 2, we're multiplying to negative 36. We are adding to 0, because again, there's a 0x in there. And those numbers will be a positive 6 and a negative 6. Okay, keep on going. Multiplies to 10, adds to negative 7. So notice we're multiplying to a positive number, so that means our signs are the same, but we're adding to a negative number. So they'll both be minuses, and those numbers will be 5 and 2. Multiplies to 16, adds to 8. Multiplying to a positive, adding to a positive. These will both be positives, and they will be 4s. So if you'd like, since they're the same, we can write this as x plus 4 squared. Either way is fine. Multiplies to 30, adds to 11. Multiplies to a positive, adds to a positive, both positives. And that will be 6 and 5. All right, finally, multiplies to 9, adds to negative 6. Notice we're multiplying to a positive, adding to a negative, so they will both be negatives, and they will be 3s. Or just like we did with number 4, we could write this as x minus 3 squared. Actually, let's do one of these together because I notice I gave you a lot of multiplying by positives up there. So let's do number 11 together. When you're multiplying to a negative, it's always a positive and a negative, every time. Okay, you don't have a choice. So multiplying to a negative 15, adding to a positive 2. That will be a 5 and a 3. But now you have to figure out which one is negative, and that will be the 3. So x plus 5, x minus 3. All right, so you have to do those 5. Okay, please give them a shot. Submit so that I can definitely see those answers so I can comment on them with any issues, and you should check your answers on your green homework answer sheet. Okay. All right, next we're going to match. So notice all of these are multiplying to some form of a 12, and then they're adding to something different. So what I'm going to do right here, see how we're multiplying to a negative 12? I know that means that I have to have opposite signs, one positive and one negative. So that means my only options for 13 and 14 are B and D. Whereas here, I'm multiplying to positive 12. That means I have to have the same signs. So my only options for that are A and C. All right, so now that should help us narrow it down. So I'm multiplying to negative 12. I'm adding to negative 1. Let's look at B. Negative 3 plus 4. That would be a positive 1. So B goes here. Let's check D. Negative 4 plus 3. That's a negative 1. So that one should be D. 15. We're adding to a positive 8. So let's check. Is that going to be negative 6 and negative 2 or positive 6 and positive 2? Should be the two positives. So this one's A, and that means that 16 is C. All right. Flip the page for me. So now we're going to talk about solving. So solving is what happens when you have an equals 0. Okay. Now, periodically, you're already going to be in factored form. Don't FOIL this. I know people are like, ooh, FOIL. Okay, there's an equal sign. It doesn't say to multiply, it says to solve. So you're literally just setting each of these equal to 0. Okay, this means the factoring step was already done for you. And then remember, your solutions are always just the opposites of what you started with. So x equals negative 72, and x equals positive 91. Okay. Now, most of the time you're going to get something like 22. 22 isn't factored yet. So we will have to do what we did over here first. So first, I'm doing my multiply to 36 and adding to negative 13. Notice I am bringing down my equals 0. And I'm going to have two negatives here, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative plus a negative is a negative, and it's going to be a 9 and a 4. Once I have this was the factoring step. Now I'm going to solve it. Okay, and I solve it by just setting each piece equal to 0. And then I can add my 9 over and get x equals 9. Notice I have the opposites here. And I can add my 4 over, and x equals 4. Okay, and again, these are representing your zeros or your x-intercepts of your parabola. Okay. All right, so we're going to do 3 more together, 23, 26, and 27, and you are responsible for doing 25 and 28. Okay. 23. We will subtract our 11x over first. That's going to go in the middle. Okay, it's going in the middle because it's the x. Now we'll have to factor. X. Notice I brought down my equals 0. I am multiplying to 28. I am adding to negative 11. And this is going to be a negative 7 and a negative 4. Okay, so x minus 7 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. This is my solving now. So the factoring was this step. Now I'm solving. Add over my 7. Add over my 4. Okay, and again, notice your answers are just the opposites of your factored form. Okay, 25 is for you. 26 and 27 are for us. 26, I need an equal 0 in order to do this, so I do have to add over my 25. See how it's just the regular number, it's not the x, so it'll go at the end. Now I'll factor it. Okay, that's where I do my parentheses. It means I'm doing my box problem. Multiplies to 25, adds to 10. That's going to be a 5 and a 5. See how these are the same thing? That means when we solve, we only have to do one of them. Okay, so solving, I just set it equal to 0. Subtract. and you'll get x equals -5. If you want to do that with this one too, you can, but since they're the same, there is no need. All right, last one. We already have an equals 0 here, so I'm going to go straight to the factoring step. Okay, here's my setup. I can do that every time once I have an equals 0. So I am multiplying to -4. And remember, this is like you have a 0x there. I'm adding to 0. And that's going to be a +2 and a -2. And then I'm just setting each part equal to 0. Okay, so the factoring comes first, and then once you set it equal to 0, that's the solving step. So we have x equals -2 and x equals +2. And those are your two solutions. Okay, so again, just to recap really quickly, when we're factoring, we're doing our box problem. Okay, you're leaving your answers in your parentheses. When you're solving, you're going to do your factoring step first, if necessary. Notice like number 20, it was already set up for you. Once you've done your factoring step, then we use what's called zero product property, and we set each part equal to 0. This will only happen if you have an equal sign and if the directions tell you solve. Okay, solving means you're going to set each part equal to 0 and get your answers. But again, you must be in factored form first, okay? We can't just set each of these parts equal to 0. It will not work. You've got to find your two numbers first. Okay, so you're going to do number 25 and number 28. Notice 28 is already set up for you, so you can just solve that one. And then also 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. And then you're going to submit this worksheet. Please make sure I see both sides, okay, so that I can see the problems that you had to do. All right, that would be helpful. And tomorrow you have your quiz on this, okay? So tomorrow you'll have a quick quiz review, and then you'll be taking a quiz on this material that will be quiz points. All right, please reach out if you have any questions. I am happy to help. Have a great day. Bye.